In Jamaica, it is of utmost importance that we carefully consider the reasons behind separating from the British monarchy as our head of state while simultaneously maintaining our membership in the Commonwealth of Nations. Back in September 1979, Prime Minister Michael Manley of the governing People's National Party and leader of the opposition Edward Seaga of the Jamaica Labour Party, along with senior parliamentarians from both political parties, signed and presented a Memorandum of Understanding in the House of Representatives. This memorandum aimed to sever ties with the United Kingdom's monarchy while still remaining part of the Commonwealth. Under this proposed arrangement, Jamaica would continue as a parliamentary democracy with an elected House of Representatives, an appointed Senate, and a president chosen by the Prime Minister to replace the Governor-General, the previous representative of the British monarch. Simultaneously, during that same month in 1979, legislation was introduced, debated, and enacted to establish an independent management system for Jamaica's electoral process. The Electoral Advisory Committee, later succeeded by the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, was created to oversee this critical aspect of governance. While significant progress has been made in implementing the vision and legal framework for the electoral system, the separation from the British monarchy has yet to materialize. Before delving into the reasons behind this unimplemented agreement between the major political parties, let's explore the actions taken by other English-speaking Caribbean countries on this matter. Guyana took the lead in making significant constitutional changes. On February 23, 1970, through constitutional amendments, the National Assembly, a single-chamber parliament, elected Governor-General Arthur Chung as president. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Forbes Burnham, who enjoyed the support of the majority of National Assembly members, held executive power. In 1980, Guyana further modified its constitution by introducing proportional representation, effectively replacing constituency-based representation. Under this new system, political parties submitted lists of candidates, and registered voters in the 1980 general elections elected Forbes Burnham as head of state with executive authority. In essence, Guyana transitioned to a republic model similar to that of the United States, where the roles of head of state and head of government were consolidated into a single individual, all while maintaining proportional representation. Trinidad and Tobago took its turn next. On August 1, 1976, it officially became a republic. However, unlike Guyana, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago maintained its status as a parliamentary democracy. The twin island nation retained a two-chamber parliament, consisting of an elected House of Representatives representing constituencies, an appointed Senate, and a president who assumed the role of head of state, replacing the Governor-General, the former representative of the British monarch. The President of Trinidad and Tobago is elected by an electoral college composed of all members from both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Ellis Clark, who had previously served as Governor-General, was unanimously elected as the first president by this electoral college. The president's term of office is 5 years, renewable. Although the Constitution contemplated making the president the commander of the armed forces, this provision was not fully implemented. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Eric Williams, an elected member of the House of Representatives, held executive power. In summary, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago adopted a parliamentary democracy akin to the United Kingdom, but with distinct differences, while maintaining its membership in the Commonwealth, a path previously set by India in 1949. Barbados took decisive action as the third country in this process. On November 30, 2021, during a public ceremony held at midnight, Barbados initiated the formal steps to separate from the monarchy of the United Kingdom, while maintaining its membership in the Commonwealth of Nations. Dame Sandra Mason, the then Governor-General, immediately assumed the role of acting president, a position she held until her permanent appointment on November 30, 2022. During the ceremony, Dame Mason bestowed upon the guest of honor, Charles, Prince of Wales, the prestigious Order of Freedom of Barbados. Prime Minister Mia Mottley eloquently explained the intricacies of constitutional change, effectively freeing Barbados from the British monarch's role as head of state while still honoring its Commonwealth ties, following in the footsteps of Queen Elizabeth II. In essence, Barbados accomplished on November 30, 2021, what Jamaica had proposed back in September 1979. The question that naturally arises is why Jamaica, the most populous country in the English-speaking Caribbean, has not followed the lead of other larger countries in the sub-region. The key explanation lies in the provisions set forth by the framers of the Jamaican Constitution back in 1962. Specifically, they stipulated that the Jamaican electorate would ultimately decide whether to replace the British monarch with a Jamaican citizen as the head of state, a president. This process involves two stages. First, a two-thirds majority of members in both the House and Senate must pass legislation amending the Constitution to effect this change. Second, the Jamaican electorate must participate in a binding referendum, answering the specific question of whether to replace the United Kingdom's monarch with a president appointed by the Prime Minister. Such a referendum carries political risk, especially for the government. To date, neither the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, nor the People's National Party, PNP, has chosen to take that risk. The Jamaican government's cautious approach reflects the significance of this decision and the need to carefully consider the implications of transitioning from a constitutional monarchy to a republic. However, recent developments indicate that Jamaica is indeed moving toward this historic change. The nation aims to replace King Charles III as its head of state by 2025, marking a significant milestone in its journey toward true independence and liberation. Unlike the island of Barbados, which removed Queen Elizabeth II as head of state with a simple majority vote, Jamaica's entrenched constitutional provisions require a referendum, allowing the electorate to directly participate in this crucial decision. The move toward a Jamaican head of state represents a powerful affirmation of national identity and sovereignty, honoring the sacrifices of ancestors who fought for freedom and independence. First, let us dismantle the illusion that an external benefactor, agency, or organization exists upon which Jamaicans can rely to ensure justice, shape our future, or safeguard our nation's well-being. The reality is that we stand alone and must shoulder the responsibility for our own welfare and destiny. If we create problems within our own community, we must live with the consequences. There is no external force obligated to clean up our mess or guarantee our prosperity. Regrettably, history has often misattributed Jamaica's greatest achievements, the abolition of slavery and our political independence, to British monarchs. In truth, these milestones represent victories of the Jamaican people over British political power wielded by prime ministers and ministers. The persistent mindset that clings to the notion of an external godfather or godmother, a benevolent force placing Jamaica and its citizens first, perpetuates an illusion. The British monarch, as the head of the Jamaican state, serves as a purveyor of this very illusion. Jamaica's parliamentary democracy draws not only from the Westminster model inherited from England, but also from the rich heritage of Akan, Igbo, and Ibibio cultures in West Africa. Additionally, it reflects the choices made by Jamaicans who lived, worked, and faced racism in Central America, Cuba, Britain, and the United States before returning to build Jamaica as their home. Since the early 20th century, these Jamaicans have staunchly opposed the idea of a president with extensive executive powers, fearing the potential for despotism or dictatorship. Even prior to that, there existed a collective aversion to excessive concentration of power, recognizing the risk it posed to personal freedom, a cherished value for all. Both of Jamaica's founding fathers, national heroes Sir Alexander Bustamante and Norman Manley, and the political parties they led were aligned in their preference for a parliamentary system of democratic governance. The transition from the British monarch to a Jamaican president would occur after achieving political independence, and would not alter Jamaica's membership in the Commonwealth of Nations. As Jamaica's population has become predominantly non-black, breaking away from the British monarch holds critical significance in dismantling racism and classism within the society. This shift is especially important given the embedded institutional and oligarchic elements perpetuated by uncritical adherence to historical patterns. Thirdly, there exists a diverse array of democratic systems across the world. Among these, parliamentary democracies have consistently demonstrated remarkable stability, particularly when confronted with crises that might otherwise lead to authoritarian rule. Political stability plays a pivotal role in ensuring long-term economic viability, social cohesion among diverse elements, and the personal security of citizens. Jamaica, as a young nation, is on a promising trajectory in terms of governance. Taking the step to part ways with the British monarchy while maintaining membership in the Commonwealth of Nations is essential. It allows us to better grasp the concept of people's sovereignty and underscores our collective commitment to the common good, mutual care, and continued collaboration with other nations on a similar path. Fourthly, whether by design or happenstance, the practice of Jamaican prime ministers in appointing governors general over the past 6 decades, without restricting their tenure to changes in government, has yielded individuals who symbolize Jamaican identity, contribute to political stability, exhibit statesmanship, and occasionally demonstrate wisdom akin to that of King Solomon. These governors general have carried out ceremonial state functions with grace, dignity, and inclusivity. Over this period, Jamaica has seen 5 governors general, each serving an average of 12 years in office. These distinguished individuals come from diverse backgrounds, whether in partisan politics, academia, or religion, and collectively refute any argument suggesting that we cannot find citizens of comparable caliber to serve as head of state, even when compared to the British monarch. This leads us to a fundamental question: what truly defines the essence of the United Kingdom's monarch? The British anthem stands as a powerful symbol of identity for the vast majority of people across England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. It serves as a collective prayer invoking divine protection for their reigning monarch, whether queen or king. While the anthem has 5 verses, the 4th and 5th verses carry the most earnest pleas. Let us explore these verses. From every latent foe, from the assassin's blow, God save the king. These lines beseech protection against hidden enemies and potential harm. The monarch, as the embodiment of the nation, is shielded from threats both seen and unseen. The reference to assassin's blow underscores the gravity of this plea, emphasizing the need for safeguarding the ruler. O'er his thine arm extend, for Britain's sake defend, our father, prince, and friend, God save the king. Here, the anthem invokes divine intervention to strengthen the monarch's resolve and extend protective guidance. The monarch is portrayed as both a fatherly figure and a trusted friend to the nation, emphasizing their role in unifying and defending Britain. Thy choicest gifts in store, on him be pleased to pour, long may he reign. This verse acknowledges the monarch's role as a recipient of divine blessings. It expresses the hope for a long and prosperous reign. The continuity of leadership is essential for stability and continuity in governance. May he defend our laws and ever give us cause to sing with heart and voice, God save the king. The monarch's duty extends beyond mere symbolism. They are tasked with upholding the nation's laws and ensuring justice. The call to sing with heart and voice reflects the emotional connection between the people and their sovereign. The British monarchy serves several critical functions. Political stability. Amid the tumult of changing governments, prime ministers, ministers, and military leadership, the monarchy remains a stabilizing force. It transcends political factions, fostering national unity even during times of intrigue, acrimony, and division. Statesmanship. The monarch embodies wisdom gained through statecraft, diplomacy, and experience. Their role extends beyond mere ceremonial duties. It involves making decisions that benefit the entire British society. Symbol of sovereignty. The monarchy represents the sovereignty of the people, not through force but through pomp, pageantry, and respectful ceremony. By separating headship of the state from the execution of state power, it prevents the elevation of prime ministers to godlike status and encourages wise decision-making. In essence, the British anthem, flag, and pledge focus on the enduring symbol of identity and belonging, the monarch, rather than the transient persona of political power. The concise answer lies in a complex interplay of conflict, contention, and gradual evolution spanning approximately 800 years. Let's delve into the key events. Norman Conquest, 1066. The Normans from northern France conquered England under the leadership of William the Conqueror. William asserted the absolute right of kings to rule, and established a feudal system of governance. Land was granted to barons, earls, abbots, and bishops. Outrage and demands, 1215. King John's conduct provoked outrage among the barons, earls, abbots, and bishops. In response, they demanded specific rights and liberties for Englishmen. King John ultimately agreed to these demands in writing, leading to the creation of the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta, signed and sealed by King John at Runnymede in June 1215, marked a pivotal moment in history. It set out to limit royal power and documented essential liberties, laying the groundwork for individual rights in Anglo-American jurisprudence. 107 years later, in 1322, the warrior aristocracy of landowners and prelates from the church came together to establish the House of Lords. This assembly passed statutes autonomously and asserted its authority by demanding royal assent. Approximately 50 years later, in 1376, the House of Commons was established. Commoners, specifically knights of shires and lesser clergy, demanded accountability from the king regarding expenditures funded through taxation. Over the next 270 years, a dynamic interplay unfolded in the struggle for supremacy among the monarch, the House of Lords, and the House of Commons. The execution of King Charles I on January 30, 1649, settled the matter that the king is subject to Parliament, specifically the Houses of Lords and Commons. By 1832, the Prime Minister, rather than the king, appointed members to the House of Lords. In 1867, during Queen Victoria's reign, the House of Commons gained primacy over the House of Lords. The Prime Minister, as a member of the House of Commons, exercised executive power with the support of the majority of elected members. Although the monarch had been divested of the executive powers of the state, they continued as the head of state, adorned with all the pomp, pageantry, deference, and customs that had been practiced for centuries. This shift in power dynamics turned sovereignty toward the people, with the monarch serving as the symbol of that authority. The embodiment of Jamaican sovereignty and national identity, as well as the source of political stability, should be a Jamaican citizen. The time has come for both politicians and citizens to recognize this imperative, as outlined by the Jamaican Constitution. Specifically, 2/3 of the members in both the House of Representatives and the Senate must pass legislation to replace the United Kingdom's monarch with a Jamaican citizen as the head of state. Additionally, the electorate must participate in a binding referendum, voting yes by a simple majority. Ultimately, it is the people, through their actions at the polls, who hold true sovereignty.